If you're an executive, you've probably experienced this. You're in a board meeting and someone asks about your competitor's new pricing strategy or a compliance change, the one that launched yesterday, the one you didn't know about. You start to feel as if your chair is sinking into the floor, and it's not pleasant. Most of us have been there or similarly been caught off guard, but what if you never had to experience that again? As an executive running global sales organizations, one of the things I always work to keep an eye on were moves by our competitors, or large changes in the market or our industry. Information and insight was key. Trend analysis and pattern recognition allowed us to make informed decisions. And we had market analysts, we paid consulting firms, we monitored news feeds, but it was never enough. One missed competitive change, and suddenly deals in our pipeline were at risk. In one case, our CEO was blindsided during a live interview about a market shift we hadn't caught, and no one likes to be blindsided. What's worse, I once lost a seven-figure healthcare deal because we missed a compliance change by just 72 hours. 72 hours that could have saved the deal, and those are just two examples. This is where our use of AI and specifically AI agents comes in. What if we could build an agent that could monitor our competitors and our target markets in real time? What if it could analyze changes and alert the right people at the right time? Today, I'm going to talk about Sherlock, an AI agent that monitors competitors every 3 hours, sends intelligent alerts to specific teams based on actual threats, and even can be evolved to pass critical information to an organization agent for routing to other agents in specific departments. When we design AI agents at DeepHumanX, we follow a simple principle: automation with activation. It's an approach that allows us to focus on effectively balancing the human plus machine equation. In this example, the goal isn't just to collect the information, it's to turn that information into action. And that means being smart about who gets alerted and when. First, we applied our DHX Relevance Model to define our context in as much detail as possible to define exactly what we needed to monitor and why. We refined our relevance. What would success mean to the company, the people working with the agent? And could we find ways to align it with the employee's purpose-driven approach to their work? Then we lessened the define, removing all the assumptions on how to do this that had been built up over decades of experience. Sure, we could have assigned it as a task to an analyst, but the analyst is much more valuable when they can apply their human oversight to uncover new ideas or strategies based on the information rather than just being tasked to collect that information. The goal was to lighten their load and empower them to go next level. We looked at a myriad of agentic platforms from N8N to Relevance to Zapier and eventually Make. For this, we ended up choosing Make as our platform because we have several clients who already possess licenses and are experimenting with it. We then created the training data for Sherlock so it more accurately understood our business, strategy, differentiators, etc. Sherlock needs a baseline understanding of our business for determining impact and threats where there's no basis in reality. We then decided to use Perplexity with deep research capabilities to scrape competitor websites and understand their unique strategy, go-to-market approach, differentiators. This became the baseline for us. Here's where it gets interesting. Every 3 hours, and you can adjust the time based on your industry, Sherlock starts investigating. It uses Perplexity to scrape competitor websites, scan their LinkedIn profiles, monitor news mentions. All that data flows into a Google Sheet. We used as a simple proof of concept, but you could use any database. We then passed this competitive intelligence to ChatGPT to determine what has changed and entered the changes into another Google Sheet. From there, all the information is passed back into another instance of ChatGPT for analysis, along with our custom instructions, guardrails, and thresholds. It compares what changed, analyzes market implications, and identifies specific threats to our business. But we need to activate the data. So after the system runs a second analysis to determine if these changes meet specific threat thresholds, or is it just noise, or is it something that requires action, we have to give it the ability to notify people. If it's a real threat, our router in Make triggers different alerts based on the type of change. Competitive pricing change, recommend alerting sales. Compliance change, recommend alerting legal and finance. New product launch from a competitor, alert product and marketing would be the recommendation. When Sherlock detects a legitimate threat, it doesn't just ring an alarm. It sends an email with detailed analysis and implications to those individuals specifically affected based on the thresholds, a Slack notification with a brief summary to them, and a text message to ensure urgent items aren't missed. Our curiosity had been piqued, and we started to experiment and explore second-order effects that could be possible as we continued to iterate through the DHX Relevance Model. We defined a corporate co-pilot agent we called Gatsby, the great coordinator and know-it-all. With the right parameters, Gatsby would be able to determine what teams in the organization could be impacted and need to be notified. And what's often the largest risk with competitive or market changes? The sales pipeline. We scoped a companion agent called Blake. Any fans of sales movies will get the reference. That takes this even further. When Sherlock spots a competitive threat, Gatsby is notified as well as the executives of the organization. Gatsby asks for permission to notify internal teams, and after review by the executives, they provide approval. Keeping the human in the loop is key. In this case, let's say the threshold for sales impact are hit and Gatsby notifies Blake, who then analyzes your Salesforce pipeline and identifies which specific deals might be at risk based on industry, deal stage, and competitor mentions. So think through this. Your competitor launches a new feature. Within hours, your sales reps receive alerts about which deals need attention and how to adjust their approach while executives are discussing strategic responses at the organizational level. Your executives have up-to-date information, communication is consistent based on parameters the team set, and they can make strategic decisions. Organizational agility is increased, fighting off competitive threats becomes easier, seizing new market opportunities becomes quicker, driving revenue expansion. Sales reps, only those affected by the market changes, are notified. And now your sales teams aren't slowed trying to interpret what this means to their pipeline. They can instead be proactive for any deals at risk. The team without affected deals is not slowed with information that does not pertain to them. Your win rate increases, your agility increases, and each member of the team is empowered to activate their unique human capital. So how do you do it? First, you have to map your critical monitoring points, competitors, regulations, market trends. Define your threat thresholds, what actually requires action. Identify your alert chains, who needs to know what and when. Start simple, even basic monitoring beats surprises, and iterate based on what you learn, ensuring you're keeping the human in the loop. The truth is, in today's market, 72 hours is an eternity. The difference between winning and losing often comes down to who responds first to market changes. AI agents like Sherlock don't replace your strategy team. They give your team superpowers, the ability to see everything, process it intelligently, and act before your competition even knows you moved. Gatsby doesn't replace your support staff. It frees them up from chasing the tail of information to ensure everyone's on the same page. Blake doesn't replace your sales managers or teams. It enables them to leverage their unique human capital and sales superpowers to ensure revenue stability and capture. And this is just one example. If you haven't started implementing AI, or you have and you're wondering where the ROI is, you can't wait any longer. Your competition is already moving. What will set companies apart in the future is the how of their implementation, not the why. The effective activation of the human plus machine equation is key for the greatest ROI. That's where we come in. We want to empower you to own your future, removing the need to rely on large external partners and consultants. Don't know where to get started or want to know more about the competitor monitoring agent? Drop a comment below or visit dupehumanx.com and book a call. Let's make sure you're never blindsided again.